The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everybody, welcome to the weekly Noyantis Usergroup meeting. Today is the 23rd of March 2020. Hopefully you can hear me, just making sure my microphone set is correct. As always, if you have any queries or questions or ideas, solutions, feel free to raise your hand, we'll get the mics opened and we'll cover the content accordingly. Okay, now I know I'm just waiting for a couple of others to attend. Feel free to, as I say, raise any questions you may have. Just going to type a quick message to one. I know Bill was after asking a question regarding the report control in legacy mode. Oh, I've got a question from Alejandro, so let me just do that. Hi, Alejandro. How's it going?
Hello, Andy. How are you?
Yes, all good.
That's good. That's good. Look, I have an old problem that using the syntax editor with a docking pane, for example, with a property grid or report control, when I want to, when the window is open, okay, the both control are shown perfect, but when you click in the syntax editor,
it goes to a small box.
Exactly.
Yep.
So please help me.
Right. Okay. It's not necessarily that easy of a fix. What I can say is the new report, the new docking pane will handle that for you. Basically, there is a workaround. There's two controls which demonstrate that same issue, if you will, and it's the calendar and the syntax edit. So there are workarounds for it. They're a bit crude, to be honest, but they work. But I'm going to have the new docking pane actually do the workaround for you automatically, so you won't have to worry about it. But it's a little bit of an ugly hack if you want the truth. So if you can bear with us till I get the docking pane to you, even in beta form, then that will automatically correct that for you, and for the calendar as well. Like I say, there's two what demonstrate that particular issue, and it's that they go very small, don't it? Like maybe 5 or 6 millimeter square. So basically, yes. All I can say on that is if I get the new docking pane to correct that issue for you and send you a beta, would that be okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
I will appreciate. Okay. Thank you.
So I know of it. It's been around for a while. It was actually John who I don't know where John is today actually. Well, started the webinar for me, but
I'm here.
Oh, you're there.
Yeah, my audio was goofed up. It looked to me like my audio was fine and that yours wasn't working. It was just the opposite.
So say it's me who's normally late to these, not John.
Yeah,
John's forever the professional. So, but yes, basically, I think it was John who actually highlighted that syntax edit issue many moons ago. So it is a known issue, but the workaround is also a known fix as well. So it does work. So I'll get that fixed for you and get a beta across to you.
Okay. Hello, John. If you can send me the workaround, would be great too.
I'll try and get a beta to you within the next few days. This week, I'll get you a beta this week because I've got to look at something.
Please, don't forget, please.
No problem. No problem. Alan, who's here on the webinar, in fact, I want to speak to him. He's been running the beta, and he found a couple of things which over the weekend he messaged me about. So I was going to wait till today and ask. So Alan's already on that beta, so I'll be getting a new beta out for Alan this week. So I'll make sure that that's covered at the same time and get it across to you.
Okay.
Roberto's asking, is that not the docking pane you already sent us? No, it's probably moved on since then, Roberto. There's work going on a few of them all at the same time. So Alan, so if I can just quickly switch to Alan, is that okay? Sorry to put you on the spot there, Alan, but I got a couple of emails from you. Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can. Yes, brilliant.
Excellent.
So I've got a couple of emails, and it's on the docking pane, so it's a perfect segue into asking yourself. I'll just have a quick look at the emails because it was on the phone trying to read them small, obviously, and so on. Do you want to just talk me through what it is, what you found?
Oh yeah, let me see if I can reproduce it real quickly. I guess I ought to look at my email too and see what I said.
There was a couple. I've got the email here. If you don't, I mean, showing there you go. So you've got a pane. Oh, jumped quite fast.
Yeah, I think I sent a screenshot too.
That was in the second one. So you've got one here. I have a pane that contains standard Clarion browse. That's no problem. It was crashing when I called the update.
Oh, okay. You want to see the screen?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Let me take.
All right. I am watching for your message.
Just coming across now.
All right,
Okay,
you should
yep.
see me. Let's see, this was in deadlines. Okay, so this is the deadlines. By the way, I sure would be nice if I can figure out how to make that tab show better. The show is the one that's selected, but anyway.
That'll be down to the theme being used, the color theme.
The theme or skin?
Theme. Yeah, the theme.
Okay, good, because we've given up on skin framework.
Oh, okay.
It was the cause of probably 90% of our problems. Okay, discovery control plan. Let's see. So if I cancel, for example. Well, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I undid. I told it not to verify anymore. But yeah, when I cancel, for example, it would pop up the confirmation window, but the standard confirmation window, just like a message window, they would pop up behind this window. Pretty much, I believe they're inside a pane, which I couldn't get to. Ooh. So the message window was being put into a pane. Additionally,
oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never seen
let's see it. Additionally, I had some windows where I would let's see. I'm trying to remember which one it was. An update procedure, and I would have the do not allow it to be inside a pane.
Yes.
Checked, but it still put it inside a pane, and increase the size, etc. I literally had to go in and disable the template in the update procedure to have it not get opened in a pane when it got called.
No, that might. You see, just to. Right, okay, I'll just quickly switch back to mine just to show a particular. We can always jump back to yours if we need to. That's no problem. Just let me mention what goes on, if you will. Let me find the particular example. Is it that one? Would that show? No, that's not it. Okay, maybe this one. So you have an extension, like a content manager, if you will, and you have basically a window, another extension, which gets automatically added. There's a question mark whether that's going to continue to be automatically added. The jury's still out on that one, so to speak. But I will just explain what goes on from the window manager's point of view. So just wait for this 1 second. Okay, grandchild, okay. So we've got here a window running, and you've got another thread, which has got the Clarion browse running up here, and a different thread with the Clarion, a different Clarion procedure running. Okay. Now go back to our browse. Let's say hypothetically that's thread 1. This is thread 2. So this pane here is thread 3. Now it's going to call an update form. So it doesn't start a new thread, it's just a standard form. What it has the capability to do is take the basically the the handle, or they take the pane of its parent thread. So it's an update form. It's still running on thread 3 from the browse, so it will automatically take the place of its parent. So that's taken the place there, so it's still thread 3. Going on there, that's still thread 3, which is just a dummy window, but it's just to demonstrate. We close that. So that's a lookup procedure. We go back to our form. We close our form. We go back to the parent. Oh, you get that. That's okay. That's right on cue. So I'll just kill that. And let me have a look at what, just to talk you through from the template point of view, what's going on. Where are we? Just 1 second. Won't be a second, just waiting for Task Manager to give me the chance. There you go. Right, so back onto here. So we've got Clarion Child. There you go. So that was the original browse which opened. Now this would, the pane was told to start this. So we have our content management. Oh, hang on. Oh, that's because this is the version what's in dev. It's not taking account of some of these. Right, okay. But what you could do is, presuming that's still that same one, just let me make sure. Won't be a second. Clarion Child window, yeah. Okay. Let's go with this one. So that's going to start the browse. Content management should be there. And it's allowed to be used, and you've got some, whether you want to restrict it to a particular pane, so on and so forth. Now we go to an update form. This has got that on there, and it's saying that is allowed to be used. Now that's never called directly. That just happens to be taking the place of its parent. So the browse is thread 3, then the form becomes thread 3. If you tick, which most of the time people will, you say don't allow that. So I'll put that there. And we'll call that same one. There's our browse, thread 3. We go into it. Like I say, there's every chance with this dev. It's not playing ball because it's the dev version. But what would happen there is you've still got behind the scenes a window manager class, okay, and that's keeping track of what's open, not necessarily docked, just what's open on each thread. You can pass messages to each of those threads. You can pass events, notifications, and so on and so forth to those. So you can say pass a notification to a particular pane, and it will send it to the highest window in that pane. That kind of thing. So you've got quite a few functions for you for that. I think in your example, Alan, what you also said is you didn't just tick that. You also had to tick the disable. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Right. So what that does is, at this moment in time, that window would open. It would still go and talk to the overall window manager class, our docking pane window manager class. That is not Clarion's own. It would talk to our own docking pane window manager class to say, this is open. It's not docked, and so on and so forth, but it needs to be part of that particular chain. And that's because you might, so to lead up to where I was going, you might be calling yet another pane, like here. Now that could be a lookup. It would still be on the same thread, but you don't want that one to be docked because its parent isn't docked, if that makes sense. So that would be docked. That's explicitly docked. That one, if you wanted it to be, could be, and it would take the position of its parent, which means that one could be, and it would take the position of its parent. But if there was a break in the chain, i.e. at this level, the update level, so you said that wasn't to be docked, that means any subsequent ones wouldn't want to be docked. So that's why it still maintains the queue, if you will, of what's opened where. The only problem you find on that is, and I think we've just seen it before, is when you cancel out. I think there's I don't know if it's a timing or what. This is one of the things I'm still looking at now, and it's related to basically accessing a null pointer and so on. So yeah, that's the point where we're up to there. So if you ever run into any particular issues and you're not using this child taking the position of a parent and so on and so forth, then it is good practice to tick that one as well. Disable the template.
Yeah, you pretty much need to, because I just unticked it, and basically it does open the procedure in a pane and it expands it. So my form is not set to
which is what I just had there. Now that you're on the beta, that previously wasn't the case. It's because that's not being taken into account in the beta. I'll make sure that's taken into account this week for you. So yeah, apologies for that. And so
no problem. Okay.
But yes, because that's what I saw there a minute ago. I had that as stopped, but yet it still was, and it shouldn't be, and that's purely down to you being a guinea pig, which I thank you very much for, of course.
Yeah, no problem. No, actually, it's working a whole lot better. I'm able to continue developing now, whereas before I just sort of set it aside because it just, too many crashes. But it's coming along now. Yeah,
no, and the next one, obviously, next iteration is better, and so on and so forth. That's of course the general idea. The one thing, actually, I can get a consensus, maybe a show of hands shortly, and that is, you add the global extension, and it goes through and adds this content management to every child procedure, basically allowing it to be used as a piece of content. It ticks it, it checks this option, the stop, by default, but it does mean that it will put itself into the window manager and so on and so forth. I was actually wondering whether to actually remove that, where it doesn't automatically get added and you have to explicitly go to the child procedure and add that extension, if that makes sense. It's a tough one though, because it really depends on how people are going to use it. The idea being, you might want to, you add it at the global and it will add as many children automatically for you, and then you just go and untick when you want to use it, rather than go to the child and explicitly add it. I don't know which is the best. Quick show of hands then. Sorry, I've just got a question there. Make a quick show of hands then. Who thinks it should automatically be added, i.e. this should automatically be added to every windowed procedure? That's not too many. One. Okay. And that's gone down. And then obviously the flip side of that is who thinks it shouldn't be added, and you would go to the likes of it'll already be on one, but go to a procedure and then add it and say this is going to be used as a child.
Well, I can't find my hand, Andy, but I'm voting yes.
You're voting for the second.
Me too.
Yeah. Kind of the intention, the best intention was that, this whole the child and the grandchild taking the place of the child, and the child taking the place of the parent, and so on and so forth. You've actually got Mike Hansen to thank for that. He laid down as a challenge about, 7 years ago. It's caused me more pain than anything else in the world since he laid that challenge down. So you've got Mike to thank for that. But of course, it was for the good of the product and so on. So I can't fault him. It's a nice function. But I do wonder whether adding that automatically comes at a bit of an overhead. Because I do find myself, I'll be honest, going to the other procedures and then ticking the disable more times, especially in the previous version. Not so much in the new one, but definitely in the older one. So I might look at that. It won't be in this next beta build, but I might look at how we stop doing the auto and then you explicitly go and add and make it easier that way. Okay. And Paul has just asked if he could get a copy of that beta, and that's no problem. These are recorded, so no. Do you know what? I'll make a note anyway, just in case, and then it will be on here. Won't be 1 second, guys. So, Docking Pane beta. Alejandro. Obviously, Alan. Alan's already on there, and Paul. No problem. Right, sorted. Okay, so now that's that. Bill should be with us somewhere. Hi, Bill.
Hey, Andy, how are you?
Yes, fine, thank you. Yourself, keeping well?
I'm trying to.
Yes.
Yeah, what I got is and this goes back to several months ago. We had talked about the using legacy with the list box and being able to choose a file.
That's right. Should we take a look now? Okay, it was one of the tests I wanted to quickly flush through for you. And if there is I found a bug, if you will, just the other day. So let's just go through and create a legacy application here.
That's what I got up here on. Well, I got one on my screen here. We're showing the errors I'm getting and everything.
Oh, well, can we take a quick look at your screen first then?
Nothing application. I got a frame and a browse.
Okie dokie. Well, let's just make you presenter and let's take a quick look at the screen if we can. There you go.
Okay. Did it come through?
Just looking, not seeing it yet. No, did it give you an option to say show your screen?
Yeah.
Helen sees it.
Oh, yep, sorry, it gone behind. Yep, got you.
Okay.
What's behind it? Oh. Yeah, well, no, I don't know what all that is. All right, okay. That definitely doesn't look right.
Yeah, that's, you know, I mean, I just started this the other day and I'm just trying to get it pieced together.
Okay, well, let's have a quick look at the template then.
Okay.
Well, more the application tree. And let's go on to the particular extension. So the customer browse, yeah. Extension, okay. No, you're using a list enhancer.
Well, that was the only option it gave me.
Okay, no, that's not right. So delete that.
No.
Okay.
Andy, it looks like it's got a list on the window and it doesn't have a queue associated with it. That's what all this.
Yeah, but Bill doesn't want to use that. He just wants to use a report control bound to a file.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
what
I was attempting to do anyway.
Okay, so let's go.
The errors are related to that list box, though. They're related to that. That's where the errors are coming from.
Yeah, let's get rid of that list box, Bill.
Okay. That's easy enough to do. And there's no embeds, there's no nothing, so.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, let's just check we've got a nice clean compile of that. I should hope we do, but we should. I'm going to say, would you not have to save the screen?
Oh, yeah.
And again, just be on the safe side, yeah.
Just try and make sure I didn't have anything else open in there.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, because we started with this several months ago, and there was a problem due to legacy, and
well,
I kind of
we'll make sure we come away with it today working. But let's have a look. So okay, so we've got a successful. So onto our window, and let's add a report control.
on here, right?
Yep. So let's go down our control templates, and we want to report control.
Maybe I might have done it. Maybe I just did it wrong to begin with. Okay.
Well, the other one was a list enhancer, which you might have had to use in the past, but it was a while ago.
So the report control.
Yep. Okie dokie, and resize accordingly, and make sure you're happy with how it's going to be.
Yeah, for this it doesn't really matter.
Don't matter. Okay, well that's fine. Now let's look at the actions on that. Okie dokie. So in the source,
Okay.
let's choose in the drop down above, just a tiny bit. There you go. And type in the view/files. Okay, so your primary table wants to be, I take it, your customer table by the looks of it.
Yeah, I'm just using your dictionary for this.
Oh,
So
okay. Yep.
yeah, see this right here is, I'm not, it's not, it won't, this is where I, pardon me, this is where I started with the other day, and I couldn't get the primary table to come up at all. So I went back over here to, I typed in customer, I think is what it was.
No, that's,
Because it won't go anywhere. Or is it customers? I can't tell.
I'll tell you what, Bill. I mean, I'm not sure what's going on there, but I'm going to do the exact same test here. I'm going to create a brand new app, legacy, of course, just to check here, make sure, you know, because if we've got any funnies, I'm not expecting any, then we can correct them. So I'm just going to bring it back here. Won't be a second. Okay, so I'm going to back to this dictionary. Nope, didn't want that in there. Created it in a subfolder. No fault. RC legacy, yeah, put it in there. So that's the example dictionary, as you said. Okay.
Yeah, and that's the one I used.
Right. So give ourselves a quick app frame. Nothing too exciting. Fine. With an example. Okay. Okay, so standard, just give myself a window. Definitely nothing too exciting. Okay. Of course, you'll have this recorded, so you'll be able to come back to it and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
So I set mine to lib because I've got so many different clarions. I want to make sure it just compiles it in local mode. But of course, yours could be multi-DLL and have them copied in accordingly. So let's just make sure we get a compile. I'm sure we will. Yeah, very good. Add our report control, of course. Yeah, okie dokie. Whatever, just use that. Do we get a compile? Which of course we should. So now I'm just going to add the report control. So onto our control templates, just as you did a second ago. On there, well, yeah, that'll do for now. Report control, and I always like to just go and change the class name. So now I think you said you were going to do it on cuff test. I think you had yours as.
Yeah, just whatever.
Let's make sure we've got an empty report control on the screen. And we have. That's good. That's half the battle. Now, we're going to choose our table. You did it from within the window. Go to webinar can actually make this flash and screw it up a little actually, but I want to really replicate what you were doing. Yeah, it looks like it's going to do this. Oh no, that's okay. So we do want it from a view. We should have our lookup.
You did it. You okay? Oh, view file. Yeah, that's right. That's the same as I had. Yeah.
Yeah, now I click the button. Do you know what I think that might be on yours, Bill, which I have seen, and I get it if I copy a Clarion setup. I have my Clarion actually residing in a Dropbox share, and I can move from machine to machine. And it can be, you've pressed that, you think it's not doing anything, and it's actually the location of this lookup is on a minus position. It's off the screen. You think it's not doing anything, you hit the escape, and it will go back. I think on yours, I think it literally might be. I mean, we'll complete this example, but I think that might be it's in app data, roaming, soft velocity, Clarion, whatever version you're on, and it's in one of theirs. I think it's something like Clarion Properties XML, and in there you'll have the dialogue, and one of the dialogues will be a minus amount or a crazy position where you're just not seeing it on the screen. I've seen that myself. I get it usually on the open dialogue. So, because you should get the lookup, I'm going to go to other tables here and choose your customers. Not yours, not yours. I put your example customers. So, just to recap, that's what I think that might be. It's would you call it a Clarion bug? I'm not necessarily sure it's a bug, but it's going to be a saved position of that open dialogue. Now I'm going to follow this example through. So we can say go through in a key. If you don't specify a key, it will just go through in record order. So I'm going to say a key. I'm going to probably say put it in company name order. My unique field. Remember, every role's got to have a unique ID. I'm going to choose the company. So that's our company. We could put range limits on there if you wanted to. You would do that. Choose a particular element. And
yeah, I never got that far.
Right.
I just did.
That's your lookup. I do think that's a lookup. If you did choose a range field, which was say 2 or 3 parts down a multi-segmented key, then of course you can do your higher components that you would expect. Join in. We're not going to do this with this example, but you would just do your joins as you would expect to do a join. Not so much bothered about a hot field, although hot fields, we all know how to add a hot field. I'm going to use a related record, and that is because when I click on a particular row, I want it to bring the whole row into the active buffer. So I'm going to choose our customers table with a particular key, which we said we're using the customer ID. There's only one element to that, and that is the customer ID, and that is basically we're using that as a row. So just to relate that back, we're using customer ID key and just one element of customer ID, and that relates to this here, which key we're going through. Sorry, not that key, here, the unique row ID. So if you were using multiple things as part of the unique field, then you could do it via different mechanisms and have the different elements here. I personally just have one, either a GUID or some kind of ID, record ID, and link it back that way. So that's a related record. By filling that in, it ensures when you click on a row, the related record will be brought into the active buffer. And then the columns would just be your columns. So we'll have a company name, maybe a little bigger for the name. What else? We get the idea. Telephone number, maybe. Yeah, telephone number. And you just choose your various different fields. We'll give it a default sort. So I want it sorted by name order. Now, interesting, you'd think, and it just said name order by the key. We wouldn't have to. We could load those records just in. I'm not putting any filter. I just want all my customers. I'm going to leave the key blank, which means just go through in the record order because they're going to be resorted anyway. Via this. Oh, sorry, not via that. Via the sorting. So let's just take a quick compile. Onto our report control. There's our customers. There they are in name order. And I'm just going to, we've only got 2 fields, name and telephone. I'm going to, just for good measure, put a couple of the extra fields down the bottom.
No, it might have just been that
I think it's just that lookup. I do, but only because it's caught me out. It's mainly on the file dialog when when you're opening a new project and you press open that way. That catches me out quite a few times.
Well, one question I got, and I know was a problem previously, was on the legacy, it wasn't showing all of it would stop on the number of records. But when you first did the field things.
Oh, there's been a few. There was, let's call them bugs. There was a few features, if you will, undocumented features, which have been sorted. There's one in this build. Let me just go back to. I always like to go to the actions outside of the window. I'll be honest. There was one the other day, and it was on a higher component key. So this next fix will include. This next build will include a fix to that, and basically. If we did have a multi-segmented key and we was putting our range limit, say, on the 3rd level of that key, then you can use a higher component and it would write you the code accordingly. Perfect. Maybe you've got company ID in there and something else and that. So it would write that code, but inside of the loop, which it actually writes for you, it wasn't checking for a change of that, and it should have been, of course, because it's a range limit. So that's now been corrected. So there's been a few iterations, is the point I'm making, on that bill. I think you highlighted one yourself. I think it might be linked to legacy, where, now here's the thing. Oh, it's just not got a display. I must have ticked it. Just let me go and tick the display. Won't be 1 second. So that's a related record. As I'm clicking through, oh yeah, there. Issue a display.
Oh, I know what it was, Andy. It was on the list box enhancer. The legacy wouldn't display all the records. It would only display, because it's being page loaded, it would only display the first page, and you couldn't do it where. That's why we needed this file loaded stuff.
Right. Well, that'd be the page, the report control enhancer, the legacy. Then, I mean, the list enhancer, a list enhancer, which is what you had on yours a second ago. But I understand, probably why you tried a different route. The list enhancer is basically just a Clarion local list, and it enhances that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. The page
report control. So I see how you're doing it. So that's.
Yeah. Well, just to finish up on this, just for completeness, because chances are you're going to want this. We've got obviously you can see we're clicking around. So the related record is what's making this actually, because we didn't hotfield these in, but that's bringing the record into focus. So that whole record buffer is available, but only as we navigate through, of course, not as we're reading the records, which makes it quite efficient. Now, you might want, chances are you do, to call an update form. So what we can do on here is add the update buttons. Where are we? There you go, report control update buttons. Insert, change, delete, as you would kind of expect. And I mean, this is chuck away stuff, but I still like to tidy it up. There you go. And we'll relate them to the report control. Always remember to do this last step. Yep, that's there. Options, show the right click, disable when there's no records, usual things. So that, now normally in Clarion you would have your insert, change, delete buttons, and you would specify on there what the name of the update procedure. You don't do it on there. What I do is I prompt for it actually on the report control itself. And that's because you might not actually want the insert, change, delete buttons. You might just want to, sorry, back to here. You might not want to do it on there. You might just want to have the user just double click and you can only ever change, that kind of thing. So we prompt for the update in here. Plus it also covers embed code. If you called the update record manually, then it would go off and call the correct update method, so on and so forth. So now we're just going to have update customer, and I'm just going to have Clarion generate this for us. But the usual, you can pass parameters, you can get a return value. You can specify your own print procedure and your own view procedure if you wanted to override the update form in view mode, say for example. I very rarely use this, but I'm going to use it here just for speed. Customers, there you go, customers. Can't guarantee to the quality of that update form, but we get the idea. Okay, so now we should be able to go to that. And we've got an update form, which you will go and change accordingly. Yeah, so that's your update form. And you do the same for the other types of forms, like the other types of controls, like a browse no records button is called a related record button, but it's exactly the same principle. So you've got a view, you've got a print, and that's really it, Bill, for the adding. Now, legacy or ABC is kind of irrelevant. We're taking that out of the equation here, and we're just talking straight to the tables and getting the records accordingly.
Okay, well, that looks good. I think what I did was, I believe I started.
What I think is throwing you on those is you started correct, but because where are we now? Can't see. Sorry, wrong procedure. That's why. Yeah, because this update didn't show you anything. It's literally the equivalent of that being off the screen. So I bet if I don't want to screw my Clarion up here, yeah, I've just pressed it, and as far as you're concerned, it's not doing anything. It's over here.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's that. And from memory, and we'll probably have to do a bit of digging, but it's if you do open up Explorer, app data %, that'll take you into your Microsoft and the roaming and so on. We want soft velocity, Clarion. Now I'm in 10 here. I always use 10 for testing at the moment. And in there, we will probably have, there you go, Clarion properties.xml. And if I was to send that to TextPad, I don't know where it'll be, but you will have some positions. You can see some here. There you go. There's some positions here. Hosted dialog box, data dictionary editor box, field scheduling dialog. So these are all the pop-up windows, and these are your positions. And it'll be one of those values which will either be too far to the right and you're only in one screen rather than multi-screen, or too far to the left and again one screen, or and so on. So it'll just be a bad position. Catches me out when I switch from machine to machine sometimes.
Okay, well, I appreciate that, Andy.
No problem, no problem. So, we've got Roberto. Roberto, your mic's not open. And he's got his hand up, so he's definitely wanting to talk. Roberto.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
I've been sitting here waiting and waiting.
I'm sorry, I didn't see.
I even clicked raise my hand, lower my hand, raise my hand.
It was because I had it on the other tab for you've got basically we have attendees and staff, and to put myself back into focus, I left myself on staff.
Properties.
You'd think after all these years I'd know how to work the software.
Anyways, yeah, I was looking at what you were doing there for the table, and I was wondering if you need to bind the.
You do. You do, definitely. So let's just.
If that's the case, can you make it so that we can add the whole table? Sometimes you have to bind, maybe you just don't need just one. Maybe you need, out of the 13 fields, you need 12 of them. It would just be easier to bind the whole record than bind one by one. Oh
my days, I can't believe I'm hearing this, Roberto. I'm shocked. So that's easier for you as a developer, but it's not very efficient from a database I/O point of view.
What if you're doing all of them?
Well, if you're doing all, then yes, granted. But even if you're doing 12 and not 13, then 12 is still less than 13.
Okay, what if you're doing 99? Okay, let's do that.
Okay, so what you're asking for then is, and I don't know, I wasn't playing with you, I know what you mean. So
Right.
You've got here.
Right. And you can add the whole table.
Okay, so we've got add. We've got an insert and we prompt for a field.
Right. And you got a field. And you got to add every single field. Maybe you could do something like add the whole table except for this.
Well,
You know,
it's,
sometimes it would be easier to do that.
Yeah, we digress, but I think what you're talking about is something like, is it on here? No, really? Sure, we've done these in the previous webinars. Then property grid. We digress a little here, but you'll see exactly where I'm going. So when we say an update form, update customers, is that done that way? And basically you want to be able to specify the fields, if you will. And from memory,
I don't want to specify the fields.
okay, so we've got that's specified in template. That's a bad example. Okay, what you've got, just let me choose another one. Vodafone queue, child items. Do you know what? I'm just going to butcher one of these, for want of a better term. There we go. We're going to call that update customer 2, because what you can do, and I think this is the type of thing you're talking about, is you can say, want it to come from a file / variable. Okay, not that. I'll go into a category and you do the items, and I can say field, or I can say the whole file, and I can say the file and exclude some.
Right. And sometimes it's easier to do the whole file and exclude one field.
Yeah, then it is. No, I understand.
To add all of the fields that you want to do.
So what we're saying there, I understand. So as you can see there, you've got, and this is for a property group, granted. So,
so you could run a loop with a template code.
Oh no, that's exactly what this does.
Find all the fields.
Exactly what it does, and just check it's not in that list there of the exclusions.
Right.
So
right. And just not add that one field, and so on.
Our hot field takes you straight to a field as a prompt, i.e. like so. So what we're saying is add an entry above it to say, okay, do you want it to be a file or a field? Field by default to keep it backwards compatible. But you say file, prompt you for the file, have an exclusions, so you can have your 1 out of 99, that kind of thing.
Right.
And have it hot field in the whole table.
Yeah. And that's only in SQL, because in TPS it does the whole record anyways.
Not necessarily. No, not necessarily.
Well, not once you have them in memory, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily. No, in TPS you still hot field in and do it by the book, so to speak.
Well, if you're doing that, selecting and things like that, then you do. So when you put extra fields in the browse but below, so that when you click on it, it'll show them. Then you need to bind them.
Yeah. Yes. So that's not that big a change actually. Could probably just lift the code straight from the property grid. It's very simple. So what we're saying is in the hot field,
right?
Insert, but instead of straight to field, we just have the drop down above, which is file or field. Changes this accordingly. But even if you said file, you would still have to have the default for the bind, the not in view. That's definitely not for a file, but the default would be to bind.
Right. Oh, I mean, if you're going in there, you really want to bind them, but
yeah. Well, yeah, but the norm is to prompt you, so it gives you maximum flexibility. So that's the idea. But that's not that. Yeah, that's not that hard to change. No, not at all. And I suppose that would help.
Be a little easier to, for big tables and so on.
Well, one of the things, I mean, it's a plug, but it's also functionality. I'll just show you what we do. Okay, so back to schedule it, which seems to get an airing out every time. But just for an example here, now patient table, a client table, lots of fields as you would imagine. Okay, so all the ones you've got here, usual stuff, but we also have a lot of the other columns. Now this is all SQL, but all the other columns are there, but they are just we define them as a column. So by putting them in the column list, they are automatically part of the view because you're going to need them to populate the data. So we allow the user to have them at hand should they want them, but they're just hidden by default. So they're in the field picker in a report control, if you add the column but say it's hidden, then basically
It's still there, yeah.
Yeah, it's available. It's just off in the field picker. So to go back to our example here, where was our cuff test? And tell you what we're going to do. We'll actually do that just to demonstrate it. So, Bill, just to confuse you a little, not confuse you, to offer you other options on yours. So you've got your list. We will have a field picker on it. Let's see if we're looking, and I've got the sun. Where I've got the desk now. In the afternoon, the sun goes straight in my eyes. Okay, so we get the idea. Let's link that to that report control. I'll have that as our field picker customer. And I'll just change the class name, which I would like to do. Now on here, I will have an extra the address. So I won't hotfield the it's not hotfielded anyway, I'm just using the
same field.
This is Clarion where it does it. It's only ever when you're on GoToWebinar and it starts flicking from one to the other. I thought I was brave when I was doing it in the screen editor there. Just 1 second. Come on, Clarion, you can do it. There you go. So I'm going to put a couple of the other fields in there. One of them being the website. Okay. Something that isn't on the screen and just isn't anywhere. There you go. Of the website. But by default, I want it to be hidden. So it's still a column. It's the equivalent of a hot field, if you will. So it's going to be bringing it back from the database. So it's still a column. It's just not visually on the screen. Well, visually in the report control, I should say. There's our report control, and there's the field. There's the field picker, and it has brought it back. It's just available should you need it. But by default, it would be off in the field picker.
Right, but it is in the view, though. It is in the queue that you have there, yeah.
Yeah, the view, we don't have a queue because the report control itself is the queue. But in the view that is written.
I thought you did both of them. You did a queue and you sent it to the report control also.
No, we do a group for the speed of loading. And then we have the view.
Did that change or?
No. The report control behind the scenes does create a queue to keep track. But we are looking at the removal of that to help on the speed even greater.
Okay.
Yeah, we're looking at removing that the requirement, and that will
I remember the queue. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, what this will do is it will write, as you can see, it's written us a data structure, a group structure, record ID, the name which we put in, telephone number which we put in, and the web URL which we put in. If we hotfielded something, that would also go into there as well. So, for example, we will hotfield in maybe the address line 4, or maybe the postal code. Oh, sorry, back to the hotfield. Postal code, there you go. We look at now both the view and the group structure. And,
so what's the difference if you click on the do not add to view?
Well, it's the basically the value won't get overwritten. It's going through the table, the records.
Right, but it is in there. I mean, it's in the view.
No, it's not in the. Sorry, it's in the view. Because I didn't say not in view.
Do not add to view. It doesn't add it there.
No, it doesn't. A bit like if it was a filter. Let's just say, tell you what. For example,
it'll bind it, but it won't add it to the view.
Well, if it's used in a filter, you would have to have it bound. So, for example, why did I go into actions on here? Oh, right. Just 1 second. Nearly. That we were lucky there. So let's say I wanted to put a filter, and the filter was customer ID.
So mainly so that you can use it in the filter.
Yeah, that's really why you would want to do it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I will.
I just really haven't found a use case for it, except that. I mean, in order to use it in the filter.
Yeah, you want it in
It's
the
a field
filter
that I
format.
don't want to really show anyways, like, some, some category or something like that I just want to show.
So I'm going to just finish that off. I'm going to put in an actual local because you just saw me do a finger there. So like, there you go.
So do you have to bind the local one too?
Yeah, that's what you should do. You'd have to do that in Clarion though, would you not?
I don't know. I bind them, but I don't think you have to bind them when they're local.
Maybe if they're using a filter, you will. Yeah. Yeah, they will. If you're used in I should be a numeric. I didn't put a thing on there, but I happen to know that is at N08, something like so. So there's our local. I'm going to go back to that because I think we're riding our luck, not doing it the other way. Cross code greater than that local. So because I want to, I'd get a bind error, or you definitely wouldn't get any results.
If you don't bind the local?
So what you should do is say bind it and it's not in the view. But that's Clarion browse as well. That's how you should do the Clarion browse.
Yeah, but for a long time, the wording was kind of strange, on the browsers.
Yeah, yeah. But ultimately, in the later versions,
include view or something like that. So
in the later ones, they did change it to be a bit more, and I've copied that wording even down to the capitalization, right? Because it's do not add to the view. I agree. You're thinking, well, why am I binding it when I don't want it? But it's because it's part of a filter statement. It has to be bound. Otherwise, it's going to take it the literal.
Right. Maybe you could call it, just use in the filter or something like that. Just for you. I don't know, something more, that makes more sense.
We're going to do, well, I put it like the Clarion one so people would understand.
Well, it was never really understood too well. That's my complaint.
Oh, that was the genuine intention to make it so it's common. So we're going to put that ID in there, and I'll bring it so we can see some data. And last but not least, because we've just given the ability to change their own filter, we'll just put a button in here to tell it to refresh, and we'll refresh it under.
Do it.
Wait, refresh. Something like so. Bit of embed code, but one thing I do want to add for you is the reset fields. So it will automatically reset should that value change. But for now, we will just have to manually do it. So refresh report control, which means it's report control dot refresh contents with a force. That, and I've said this a few times, the refresh contents is basically the common method to all of them. So the calendar's got it, your property's got it, report control's got it, command bars is also having it. So basically, it refreshes whatever content.
So we don't have to delete everything and repopulate?
No, that will do it for you. If I refresh, got nothing. If I change that to 2, I expect less. And 8, I should expect a lot less. So on and so forth. But you would need, as I say, there's your local, and you would need your local part of the filter, so you would need it bind, not in view.
Right. So if you look at the source code now, that field is not in the view.
No. Let's go down to our view, and we would expect the ID because we've just added that, so that's in there as part of the group structure. And the difference between these two now is the postal code, which I hot fielded in, remember? So I don't need it as part of that view.
Right, but it's still there. It's still in the project.
Sorry, where?
Customer ID?
Oh, yeah. Well, I brought that back in, didn't I? I included it as part of the list box.
Oh, okay.
Report control.
That's why.
But the local, the lock customer ID, that isn't anywhere. That's just being used. And then if we look at the where that group is being used, and there it is in the data load, and that's where basically it's going through.
So, but where's the bind for that local?
There.
Oh, there it is. Okay. The postal code in the. Yeah. And this is where you would add all those bind and all the whole record.
Yeah. It would just be
That in
automatic.
there, so that it would just loop through and bind them, except for the ones that you put on the exception list, which will make it easier for some type of capturing, data.
Yeah, no problem. It says, with an enhancement like that's probably a 10, 15 minute enhancement. That's really, that's fine. That's no problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need to be sure to unbind it at the end, though.
Like so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that. And just one last one, actually. Bill again. Bill's still here, hopefully. He's on staff. Yeah. So it says Bill's muted, but I've not muted you. He's self-muted. One last one then is what you would normally have in the, imagine this is a Clarion browse, and you would be seeing the update buttons, and you would have a print button if you wanted, and things like that. Another common one which you should really know how to do would be, okay, we're going to want to, okay, I'm going to want the equivalent of a local variable in the list box. So we want a local column in our report control. We'll go to our columns. We don't need a variable. We just need a placeholder. So I'm going to put I'm going to say it's, think of an example. 1 second. What have we got here? Okay, if the phone number starts +44, I'm going to say that they're a UK company. Okay. So I'm going to go to...
do something more difficult. Paint it red.
Well, we can do the colouring and so on, but let's just do... okay, so we're going to say we don't need local column. Personally, I always start these LC for local column, but that's just so it's not coming from any kind of field or anything like that. So I'm just going to say LC UK. It's just going to say UK. Yeah, I'm going to set it to yes, no, that kind of thing. So I've got a column called LC. I'm going to now use an embed point, which is the equivalent of a set queue record. So I'm going to go to our report control, and you should have, they're all under data, like data delete, fetch, insert, so on and so forth, and you will have set row content. And that will be called for every row. Set UK indicator. So I'm going to say if the sub of the customer phone number, 1,3 equals +44. Actually, no, that's wrong. I want it to be, oh crikey, I can't remember what the prefix is. I was going to cheat. Sorry, there, that. With that prefix, because it's this group which is being used to prime up the data, so I'm going to say that. And it's LC UK, which is the name of our column, equals choose. The sum of that is 44, and it wants to equal, the sun is right in my eyes, wants to equal yes, otherwise it wants to equal no. So basically, that's that group which was created for us earlier, colon, and the name of the column. And to put that in context so you can see it with the others, that's just what the Clarion template is doing for you anyway. Well, our template. Okay. Another one you've got, so that's the equivalent of set queue record. So it's a set row content. And you do also have validate record, should you ever need it.
Cool.
Okay, there you go. Yes and no.
Yeah. You're making them the report control browse enhancer obsolete. Thank you.
Yep, that's the idea behind it. If you want the truth, that's the idea behind it.
Yes,
So,
of course.
Yep.
Of course.
And
we get it. I mean, we get it.
Yeah. And with what we want to do is to not have to create a queue behind the scenes in the class to store the raw objects of each of these roles, because maintaining a clarion queue it's not particularly time consuming for a few, but all memory. Yeah. But then when you get hundreds of thousands of records, then of course it is. So if we can take that out of the equation, then we get a massive time saving. So that's what we're looking at. So we're actually using the raw control itself. We can get the object. What we need to get back to is what you know it as. So you know that as record number 6. Internally, the report control knows it as a particular object. It hasn't a clue what number 6 is. So we're looking at ways to tie them two together, which we have actually got a hidden ID field. So we're just looking at ways of changing our get row object calls to use the internal calls instead of our own queue, and then that will speed things up dramatically. Won't be in this next build though. Calendar, we've got lots of orders currently in transit, so in development. So no, it won't be in the next build, but it will be in the one after. So watch this space.
Cool.
And that is where we're up to. Don't sound like we've got too many other questions. Any other questions, anybody? Or we shall start wrapping it up, which actually I could do with the time, to be honest, because I've got to do some stuff for the calendar for this week. John, I believe I'm on this Friday, am I not? Ooh. John's not there.
I'm here. It takes me a while to find things.
The unmute button?
Yes. Well, first go to webinars behind all the other windows I have. I got to find that. Anyway,
I just lost it a minute ago with Bill. Everyone could see your screen, but I couldn't. Yeah, so I know I can relate to that.
Yes, you're up this week.
This Friday. I could well be in a different location. I don't know how you guys are fixed. If anyone's having to obviously make alternative location arrangements for your development and so on. We are here in the UK as things obviously dynamically change daily. Wengel is self-isolating, working from home. She has been from last week. Ben is this week. And I think Wendy and I will probably switch around tomorrow/Wednesday. So it's not been mandated yet that we have to, but I think it's only a matter of time before we will do anyway. So some of the desks here are full of kit at the moment, which I've got to take home tonight. So I might be coming from a different location come Friday, but that's fine. We have the ways and means to do it.
Cool.
Are you still in your locations, or have you had to change or anything? Any changes?
We all pretty much work from home anyway, so it's not a problem.
A programmer? I mean, really?
Can you imagine?
I mean, where can I go?
Oh no, I prefer to come. One of the best things, genuinely.
Oh, I guess you were going to the office, weren't you?
Yeah, I'm in the office now. Yeah. That's what I mean. When Ben joined us, I switched the office round and so on, which was all great. But it's only now, this time of year, we're coming through spring and so on, that the sun comes in the afternoon and it goes straight in my eyes. So I never thought that one through when I switched the office around. But yeah, no, I much prefer to come out the home and come to the office. Yeah, it's much better. And besides which, there's too many. We couldn't be at home now anyway. We've wanted to. But no. The other two are already self-isolating, and Wendy and I will probably be doing Seoul this week. So yes, we'll be coming from home. I will try and keep the background noise down, obviously, and we'll present from there. All right. It should be a good one. It's we'll cover some other little updates, but it's going to be primarily calendar, but some nice updates coming to calendar. So stay tuned. You definitely want to see it.
Cool.
Right. Okay. No other questions. Pete says thanks, and you're welcome. More than welcome. Thanks for attendance.
Thanks, Andy.
Oh, no problem, Bill. I can send this to you, this example, but you've kind of seen what it is, but I can send it if you want it. I do think yours was, like I say, it was just a bad dialog box location, which has caught me out a few times. Likewise, hence why I knew where that file was. But yeah, I think you started on the right track. It's just, that threw you a curveball, so to speak.
Yeah, I think that was probably it. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, until weekend. Oh, not weekend, until Friday. Thank you, everybody. Speak soon.
Right.
Bye.
See everybody.
Bye.